Welcome to the Dinosaur Review for Kids podcast, a show all about reviewing dinosaurs on a scale of 1 to 10 fossils before only the elite terrible lizards make it into the Prehistoric Cage Match. This program is presented by the Stomp Chomp Roar Company and can be heard within all the rock layers across the planet. Grab your dinosaurs and your official scorecard because it's now time to dig for dinosaurs. Here's your Mesozoic host, Dinosaur Ranger Anthony.
Howdy all my junior paleontologists, and welcome to Ampelo's Pumpkin Patch and Cycad Orchard. We are just 5 beautiful days away from All Hallows Eve, but today is also a very special occasion here at the Stomp Chomp Roar headquarters. Today, I'm recording the 50th episode of the Dinosaur Review for Kids podcast. Is that fantastic or what? It's been such an awesome journey. Some good, some great, and some even dynamite. I've traveled through 3 amazing time periods: the Triassic, the Jurassic, and the Cretaceous period. I reviewed dinosaurs, pterosaurs, ancient crocodilians, and even a woolly mammoth. So before we begin stomping throughout the farm, I first want to say thank you all so very much for joining me on this adventure we call the Dinosaur Review for Kids podcast. Now, as you all remember, my name is Dinosaur Ranger Anthony, and I'll be your Mesozoic farmer for today's Prehistoric Cage Match out at Ampelo's Pumpkin Patch and Cycad Orchard. Are you ready to go? I said, are you ready to go? Then step on up and let's jump aboard the Jurassic Hayrack ride. In just a moment, the top 2 scoring Mesozoic era creatures from season number 5 will rise up from their paddocks below, just like the Great Pumpkin, and face off one-on-one in a pumpkin smashing battle of the ages. Over the last 9 episodes of the Dinosaur Review for Kids podcast, I've tricked or reviewed a number of dinosaurs and other prehistoric species, including the Irritator, the Ampelosaurus, the Sarcosuchus, the Stegosaurus, the Parasagosaurus, the Carnotaurus, the Rhamphorhynchus, the Deinocheirus, and the Diabloceratops. During each episode, I gave a species a fossil score of 1 out of 10 stars, aka we call them fossils. 1 fossil for some of the weakest dinosaurs, and 10 fossils for some of those strongest dinosaurs. Now, every 10th episode, I take the top 2 scoring pumpkins, I mean dinosaur species, from the current season or the previous 9 episodes, and we let them go one-on-one in the Prehistoric Cage Match. This is the ultimate who would win battle. Now, today's matchup is between the Sarcosuchus and the Carnotaurus. It's ancient crocodilian versus theropod dinosaur. Now, it's time to bring our reptiles onto the battlefield. Stomp Chomp Roar welcomes you to the 5th Prehistoric Cage Match. We are live from Omaha, Nebraska. This is the moment you've all been waiting for. It's the Prehistoric Cage Match. It's time for the Heavyweight Dinosauria Championship of the World. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a fossil score of 8.8, standing 30 feet high, 10 feet long, and weighing in at some 4,500 pounds from the late Cretaceous period, some 70 million years ago. Fighting out of South America, it's the horned theropod, it's the meat-eating bull, it's the Carnotaurus! Introducing its opponents, fighting out of the red corner, a fossil score of 9.2, stretching 40 feet long, 3 feet high, and weighing in at some 17,000 pounds. From the mid-Cretaceous period, some 110 million years ago, fighting out of South America and Africa, it's known as the Super Croc, it's the Flesh Crocodile, it's the Sarcosuchus! Let's have a fair, clean fight, touch claws, and back into your corners.
Round 1, fight!
Here we go, my junior paleontologist. Welcome to Ampelo's Pumpkin Patch and Cycad Orchard. As we continue throughout the farm on our Jurassic Hayrack ride, please be sure to stay seated and enjoy today's tour. Also, pictures are always welcome during our spooky adventures, but make sure to tag us on social media at Stomp Chomp Roar. Now, let's get this tractor rolling. We're on our way, everyone. The Triassic tractor has just pulled us into the farm and away from the entry barn. The battlefield is so beautiful. The sun is almost behind the colored trees. The jack-o'-lanterns are starting to glow into the sunset, and the smells of kettle corn, caramel apples, and velociraptor legs are beginning to fill the autumn air. We couldn't have asked for a better fall extinction day for one of these prehistoric reptiles. Currently, we find our tour in the fossil graveyard that lies in the middle of the pumpkin patch. Right in front of us is the haunted house of Roars. To our right is the lost pumpkin mine. Behind us is the entry barn, and to our left is Main Street SCR. This is a brick road that is lined with all kinds of Halloween-themed shops and eateries. Then at the end of the road is the pumpkin fields, the corn maze, and the Cycad Orchard. Everyone, look over to your right, just around the corner, peeking its 2-foot head out of the lost pumpkin mine is the meat-eating bull known as the Carnotaurus. You'll notice pumpkin seeds and guts falling from its thin and narrow head onto the dusty ground below. It must have thought it found some delicious dinosaur eggs, but instead it found an orange fruit we call a pumpkin. 2 large stomps and the Carnotaurus pushes the pumpkin minecart out of the way and fully emerges from inside the dark and gloomy mine. The pumpkin-eating dragon, the Carnotaurus, looks towards the fossil graveyard in search for its opponent. No other movement can be seen throughout the pumpkin patch, except for those leaves falling from the red-colored maple trees that scatter throughout the farm. The Carnotaurus shakes its short head, knocking off all the remaining pumpkin seeds from its snout before it starts stomping our way. Wood planks fly into the sky as the Carnotaurus crashes into the vintage wood sign that reads, "The Lost Pumpkin Mine." I think it's safe to say the Carnotaurus doesn't like pumpkins anymore. As the meat-eating bull makes its way up the short hill and enters the fossil graveyard, the sun can no longer be seen as it dips all the way behind the trees. Dusk is now upon us. The pumpkin patch begins to glow with all kinds of string lights, jack-o'-lanterns, campfires, and more. Strangely though, there's still no movement other than the Carnotaurus. Stomping between tombstones in the fossil graveyard, the Carnotaurus stomach begins to rumble. It's feeding time, or maybe those pumpkin seeds are upsetting its stomach. Nonetheless, where is the Sarcosuchus with its 5.5-foot skull, its 132 teeth, its large bulbous snout, and its osteoderm-covered body? It's nowhere to be seen. Something has to be wrong. The ref begins counting to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The Sarcosuchus isn't anywhere on this battlefield. The fight is over. Crikey! What's that? Is it its tail? I see claws! The Sarcosuchus has been bagged up and caught by the famous crocodile hunter. The Sarcosuchus must have gotten too close to one of Steve's crocodile nets. What a wicked twist of events! There's no way this super croc known as the Sarcosuchus can fight today, even if we did cut it loose. But junior paleontologist, we can't end a prehistoric cage match like this. What should we do? Anyone, please, from season number 5, who can help us? This is an open challenge to any dinosaur from the previous 9 episodes. Who is ready to battle inside of the prehistoric cage match? Don't be afraid of the dark. Oh no! What's that? It can't be! It is! It's the DWO! It's the Dinosaur World Order! This group consists of the Rhamphorhynchus, the Diabloceratops, and the Dinochirus. They have just entered the battlefield from inside of the Haunted House of Roars. It's all 3 of the Halloween-themed species that we reviewed during the month of October on the Dinosaur Review for Kids podcast. Everyone, stay in your seats. This day isn't over quite yet. The DWO is here and ready to give us a prehistoric match of a lifetime, or at least for Halloween. But who is going to step up? This isn't a 3-on-1 handicap match. Only one dinosaur can challenge the Carnotaurus. All 3 species start roaring into the night sky. Yes, the leader begins to walk forward. But hey, this wouldn't be right without a proper introduction. Lower my microphone. Introducing its new opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a fossil score of 7.0, standing 36 feet long, 14 feet high, and weighing in at 13,000 pounds. From the late Cretaceous period, some 65 million years ago, fighting out of Mongolia, it's the sail-backed herbivore, it's the horrible hand, it's the Dinochirus! The prehistoric cage match is all set. It's now going to be the Carnotaurus versus the Dinochirus. Ref, ring the bell.
Round 1. Fight!
Yes, we are back in business, folks. It's a plant-eating theropod versus a meat-eating theropod. The Carnotaurus, still in the fossil graveyard, roars up into the sky as if it was howling at the giant harvest moon that sits along the horizon. Quickly, the Diabloceratops, with its 5 horns, charges towards the Carnotaurus. It begins knocking all sorts of tombstones down with its devil-horned face. The Carnotaurus swiftly dashes out of the way as the Diabloceratops begins circling the meat-eating bull before it charges off towards the haunted house cow pens. Confused and shocked, the Carnotaurus looks around, only to see the Dinochirus a country mile away, running up to 17 miles per hour towards the pumpkin fields. Did the Diabloceratops only distract the Carnotaurus long enough for the Dinochirus to make an escape? You can believe that! But to its delight, this meat-eating bull is no slow runner. This is the cheetah of the Cretaceous, for goodness sake. This medium-sized theropod can run up to speeds around 30 to 35 miles per hour with its big strides. The Carnotaurus sets its forward-facing eyes on the Dinochirus and is ready for the hunt. Ready, set, go! In the pumpkin fields, the Dinochirus can't help itself but to snack on all kinds of growing vegetation. The 120-day pumpkin vines, flowers, and leaves are just too good to be true. The Dinochirus even sinks its Hadrosaurus-like duckbill into the occasional rotten pumpkin and scoops out around 500 seeds that fill these orange-colored gourds. The Carnotaurus continues stomping down Main Street, SCR. With each step, the Carnotaurus is adding another trace fossil into the soft ground. As we make our way through Main Street, SCR, you can see all kinds of shops and eateries, from Brock's Tall Tree Caramel Apples to Blue's Velociraptor Leg Shack, and even Duck Duck Bill's Kettle Corn. Be sure to crash on in before you leave the pumpkin patch today. Now as the Carnotaurus enters the pumpkin fields, it begins stomping its three-toed feet into all kinds of hard outer-skinned pumpkins. Of course, there's 45 different varieties of pumpkins, some even edible. Isn't it sad dinosaurs never tried pumpkin pie? Anyways, with every stomp, its feet and claws quickly become covered in all kinds of pumpkin seeds and pumpkin guts. Just up ahead, the Dinochirus continues chomping on pumpkin vines and leaves with its keratin-covered bill. The meat-eating bull lowers its head, revealing its 6-inch cone-shaped horns, and continues to charge towards the sloth-like herbivore. Drool begins to fall onto the fields below as the Carnotaurus opens its narrow jaws, revealing its 50 sharp teeth, and prepares to bite down on the Dinochirus. Quickly, the Dinochirus moves to the side and swings its 8-foot arms towards the Carnotaurus. Its 8-inch three-fingered claws slash into the Carnotaurus as it stomps by. The Carnotaurus lifts its head in front of the moon and roars into the sky. Smoke begins to fill the air from the nearby campfires that also give off a scent of toasty s'mores. As fast as a marshmallow burns, the first strike has been made on the battlefield. As the Carnotaurus begins to spin around, it again makes another fast-moving charge towards the pumpkin eater. This time using its head as a battering ram against the Dinochirus's body. The meat-eating bull pushes the Dinochirus as it begins to stumble backwards, crushing into ginormous pumpkins and even a scarecrow. Pumpkin butts and straw splatter everywhere. The Carnotaurus stomps towards the fallen Dinochirus. Could this be it? It's gonna be over! A cauldron of Rhamphorhynchus just scooped down 50 miles per hour over the head of the Carnotaurus. Surprised, the Carnotaurus begins to snap his fast bite at the flying Rhamphorhynchus, who flaps its wings over the meat-eating bull with its 6-foot wingspan. The pumpkins begin to scream into the dead of the night as the Dinochirus gets back up onto its feet in its bipedal stance. It then crashes through the picket fence and out of the pumpkin fields before heading into the corn maze. The Dinochirus uses its 8-inch claws to slice away all the corn stalks in its path. Cobs of corn begin to litter the ground below. Moments later, back at the pumpkin fields, the beak-snout Rhamphorhynchus begins to flap its thin, leathery-like wings back towards the haunted house. The Carnotaurus regains its composure and looks around, only to see the Dinochirus once again has disappeared from the battlefield. The Carnotaurus stomps its long, sleek legs into the corn maze and begins following all the dropped corn cobs as it stomps them into the ground, just like the Husker Blackshirts. At the other end of the corn maze is the Cycad orchard. These palmy plants grow from a small but stout and woody trunk, and each cycad grows a seed cone in the center. These are the oldest seed-bearing plants in the world, and the perfect meal for any herbivorous dinosaur. The cycad plants grow right behind the Main Street SCR buildings. The Dinochirus, with its 3-foot head and long snout, begins tearing away at all the palmy leaves. The cycad plants are just too tasty for any semi-herbivore to leave behind. Distracted, the Dinochirus doesn't notice the Carnotaurus exploding out of the corn maze. The Carnotaurus starts to pick up speed as it charges through the cycad orchard and towards the Dinochirus's bulky body. body. Startled, the Dinochirus tries to move to its side, but this reveals its hump-like or sailback to the Carnotaurus. It's a perfect bullseye for this horned theropod. Feathers flutter from the Dinochirus as the Carnotaurus makes impact. The herbivore lifts its gangly-like neck and roars into the sky. Stunned, the Dinochirus begins to swing its 8-foot-long arms, slashing at the back of the Carnotaurus. Everything seems so evenly matched. Teeth or claws? Claws or teeth? Which will prevail in the end? The Carnotaurus, with its small and useless arms, begins to spin around the Dinochirus, looking for another moment to strike. The sound of the nearby Rhamphorhynchus starts to fill the skies. The Carnotaurus charges into the side of the Dinochirus, who simultaneously swings its massive claws towards the meat-eating bull. The claws slash into both sides of the Carnotaurus, but the strong legs of the Carnotaurus continue to push the 13,000-pound monster backwards. Boom! The Dinochirus just crashed through the backside of the haunted house of Roars, releasing a spider-like nest of compies into the farm. The Carnotaurus stomps around to the front side of the haunted house and stands inside the fossil graveyard once again. For the moment, there's a pause in the action. The candles inside the jack-o'-lanterns flicker in the night sky as the harvest moon casts a shadow of the Carnotaurus on the ground. Quickly, the 15-foot Diabloceratops scrapes the ground with its hoofed feet before charging out of the haunted house cow pen. The Diabloceratops picks up speed up to 20 miles per hour as it moves towards the Carnotaurus. Simultaneously, the large-eyed Rhamphorhynchus flies off the roof of the haunted house and swoops down towards the Carnotaurus. The medium-sized ceratopsian lowers its head and its 12-inch curved devil horns as it nears the Carnotaurus. The meat-eating bull sinks its 50 teeth into the 3,000-pound Diabloceratops right behind its short and deep head frill. The theropod uses the Diabloceratops' own speed to slam it right into the graveyard mausoleum of the Spinosaurus aegypticus. Seconds later, the Rhamphorhynchus, with its lower jaw hook and 34 needle-like teeth, begins pecking at the meat-eating bull. The Carnotaurus bites onto the Rhamphorhynchus's diamond-shaped tail and tosses the 5-pound pterosaur straight into Blue's Velociraptor leg stand. The two supporting members of the DWO are down for the count, but where is the Dinochirus? The Carnotaurus lifts its head into the sky and lets out a ginormous roar. Just at that time, the Dinochirus emerges from the front door of the haunted house of Roars. The Dinochirus stands still, looking towards the fossil graveyard. This is it, the showcase showdown. It's about to get started. Put your bets down, $1, Bob. Both dinosaurs begin walking towards each other and meet right outside the gates of the fossil graveyard. The terrible lizards start a circular motion as they stare each other down. Once again, the fearless Carnotaurus charges at the Dinochirus, slamming it against the stone wall that surrounds the graveyard. The Dinochirus tries to snap at the Carnotaurus with its rounded flat bill and toothless jaws, but with no teeth, it has no luck. Two quick slashes from the Dinochirus's claws strike the body of the Carnotaurus. The meat-eating bull takes a few steps backward towards the Main Street SCR shops. Blood, sweat, and drool drips from both dinosaurs as they prepare their next strike. The Dinochirus stomps towards the Carnotaurus with its robust legs and stretches out its long arms, hitting the meat-eater with its sharp claws. The Dinochirus's size is just too much for the Carnotaurus. The Carnotaurus continues stepping backwards as its heels hit the boardwalk of the Main Street shops. With one last-ditch effort, the Carnotaurus bites down onto the left arm of the Dinochirus and pulls it onto the boardwalk. The Dinochirus slashes its right claws over the left eye of the Carnotaurus as its S-shaped neck and head go through the front porch of the Main Street shops. The Carnotaurus roars as it releases its grip on the Dinochirus' left arm. Again, the meat-eating bull lowers its head and charges into the potbelly of the Dinochirus. Its powerful legs push the Dinochirus into the front windows of Brock's Tall Tree Caramel Apples. What was that? The Dinochirus stumbled backwards and tipped over a cauldron filled with hot caramel. The Dinochirus is smothered in caramel and it screams into the night. The Carnotaurus steps through the double doors just like a fancy cowboy and gives out one final roar before lowering its head and taking a bite out of the neck of the now caramel Dinochirus. Dino down! Dino down! Come one, come all, step on up and grab your caramel dinosaur. And now, it's time for your DR4K Prehistoric Cage Match highlights. Whoa, I cannot believe it. What a crazy twist of events. I don't think anyone saw that countout coming for the Sarcosuchus. If it hadn't been for the crocodile hunter, I think the Sarcosuchus would have had this in the bag. Oops, you guys see what I did there? Sarcosuchus in a bag? Is it too soon? Nonetheless, it was the Dinochirus who stepped up for the battle against the Carnotaurus. Once again, it was dinosaur versus dinosaur, but this time it was plant-eating theropod versus meat-eating theropod. Now at first glance, the matchup started off pretty evenly split. Each species had a couple of great chances to end the battle early. The Dinochirus might have even had a little help from the DWO, but in the end, it still wasn't enough. The Carnotaurus took down the monstrous size of the Dinochirus, and as the clock struck midnight, all the pumpkins screamed throughout the night, and the Dinochirus would fall victim to the Carnotaurus and the cauldron of fresh caramel. It truly had become a caramel-covered theropod. Who wants one? And your fifth Dinosauria champion of the world, the meat-eating bull, the Carnotaurus! Simply fantastic, spooktacular, beautiful! Did everyone get all cleaned up? There was pumpkin seeds everywhere. I think I still have pumpkin guts all over my arms, or maybe that was just from carving pumpkins. Well, nonetheless, what a prehistoric cage match. It surely didn't disappoint. It was amazing, spooktacular, boo-rific. I can go on and on and on. Again, thank you guys all so much for listening, for making it all the way up to episode number 50. I never thought I would record this many episodes. It's a lot of work each and every week, researching a new species, recording a new episode, editing all the audio, but it means so much to me that you guys continue listening, and I just love making new content for all of my fans. So from my Brachiosaurus-like heart, thank you all so very, very much. Now we are on to the next 50 episodes of the Dinosaur Review for Kids podcast. What species will I review next? Do you want to help me fill my next 9 spots for season number 6? Then send me an email to stompchomproar@yahoo.com and let me know the species that I have yet to review and that you want added to the Dinosaur Review for Kids podcast. I have 2 species all set in stone, or should I say fossil, for season number 6, but I'll need a little help from my friends to fill the rest. Well, that's it, everyone. It's time to leave Ampelo's pumpkin patch and Cycad orchard. Everyone, please make sure to stay safe and have tons of fun this Halloween. I'll be back in November to kick off another amazing season of the Dinosaur Review for Kids podcast, and we're going to start it off with a hadrosaur, a duck-billed dinosaur from Italy called the Tethys hadros, one of my favorites, and I'm sure it would have been one of my grandpa's favorites too. Well, until then, remember, my name is Dinosaur Ranger Anthony, your Mesozoic farmer for today's podcast, and as always, keep digging for dinosaurs. But wait! I just remembered! Did you guys all hear that roar when the Diabloceratops crashed into the Spinosaurus mausoleum? Did we just awake a sleeping giant? I can't wait to see what's to come! Have a happy Halloween, my junior paleontologists! Boo ha 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 ha!